Thank you for joining us. I know you have seen so many different Olympics. Does it matter that there aren't going to be spectators in the stands?
Not as far as I'm concerned. I mean, my view is that spectators are nice to have in some sports, and for some athletes, the excitement of a crowd seems to produce better performances. But when you realize that 99.5% of the people around the world, maybe more, will experience Tokyo through television or on some other electronic platform, they don't care whether there are spectators in the crowd or not. I mean, the focus will be on the action, and you can create crowd noise. We've seen it in North America. You can
fake it.
You can fake it, and so you
can't fake the mums and dads not being there.
No, you can't fake the mums and dads. That's for sure, and that's disappointing.
So who's going to be at the opening ceremony watching it then?
In terms of people?
Yeah.
I assume whoever marches in the opening ceremony's parade, there'll certainly be seats in the stadium for them, and so it's of course these things are made for television anyway. They're not.
They are.
The crowd is largely irrelevant, and every once in a while you give them some lights to wave around.
I guess they're irrelevant until people who feel wounded see hypocrisy, or they see something that looks unfair. Are there going to be IOC executive boards there? Are there going to be corporate sponsors there? Are there going to be members of winter federations there? And have there been discussions about maybe we shouldn't do that because the offense might be outsized for the Japanese people who can't be there?
Well, I mean, there are some people in an Olympic context who should be there. I mean, the international federations run the sports and the competitions.
Are there winter federation representatives showing up?
There may be, but I mean, if you have the president and secretary of 7 international sports federations, I don't think the world is going to end. I mean, somebody may try and make a mountain out of that molehill, but...
Well, I mean, that might be me, because I'm wondering if there's someone who's representing a winter sport, why would they need to be in Tokyo?
Well, you learn something every time you see or attend an Olympic Games, and 6 months from now, we're going to be in Beijing. And so a lot of them might be putting the Beijing trip at one end or the other of a day or so in Tokyo.
But there hasn't been a discussion about tone or maybe treading more carefully optically for the sake of the Japanese people?
Well, the Olympic movement has done an awful lot to make this possible. Our international federations, for example, had to completely redo their 2021 competition schedules. World championships had to be moved and all of those things. I mean, we have walked the extra mile, both financially and organizationally with Tokyo. So I mean, it's not a real issue as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. One last question about Tokyo. What are you worried about for this Olympics?
Well, I would be worried if my expectation that once the games start, public opinion is going to shift. I'm worried that might not happen. The social media saying this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and that's not going to happen. If people see that they're just totally uninformed, and they can become irrelevant, and that's really what you hope.
I didn't hear you say outbreak in there. You don't seem worried that there will be a big team that can't compete because of an outbreak, or... Well,
if that happens, it happens.
Yeah.
But non-competing in that context is not a boycott. That's a health issue. That it's too bad for that particular country. But the health and safety of everybody else is even more important.